Welcome home. We are WNST. Taos, Baltimore. Baltimore positive. I think this will be the last time I hold the Gold Rush Sevens doublers up because I'm getting the Raven scratch-offs from the Maryland Lottery. I've been eating oysters every single day. I had an oyster shooter in Columbia the other night. I'm having oyster fritters. I'm having some shucked raw oysters with mignonette sauce. I've learned what mignonette sauce even, I don't like it, but I learned what it was over at Conrad's. It's been a great time. Oyster Tour is all brought to you by our friends at Liberty Pure Solutions. It's 1-800-CLEAN-WATER. You can find them. You see the trucks around town. They take care of well water. They keep my water fresh. They give me fresh bottled water here, but they make the water that comes out of your spigots cleaner. Even my kitty likes the clean water around here. They're also good plumbers. And our friends at Curio Wellness and Foreign Dot are also putting us out for this crazy oyster. I have not had an oyster with Wendy Bronfein, our chief cannabis officer, and the chief brand officer at Curio Wellness and Foreign Dot. But I have had some rock and roll with you. You and I were together one night and never saw each other. You were with my wife the next night at Lake Street Dive, and I was at Styx. I have been rocking. I let my hair down for you because I figured you and your husband are probably making fun of me at Pearl Jam because I'm awkwardly fun at concerts, right? I mean, a little bit, right?
No, not at all. I mean, we saw you right in the pit and down in front of us. You were having a good time.
I went alone. I went with Craig Lusko. So I had an extra ticket because of my wife, and my wife's had a family thing and like whatever. So I had an extra ticket in the pit. I hit every friend who ever commented on my Facebook about Pearl Jam, and I saw Pearl Jam in May. And when I put pictures up, people like, "Oh, I can't wait. Get me a poster." Like everybody's into it. And I hit every one of them and said, "I've got an extra pit ticket. Would you like to go?" Everyone was like, "I'm already going. I'm already going." You're already going. Everybody was going. So my friend Craig Lusko goes, and we get there, and he's a big concert guy. I love Craig. He says to me, "Look, man, I got one pit. I'm storming the stage. I'm going in. I'm going to the belly of the beast." I'm like, "Dude, you're not my date. Go have at it." He's got video up Eddie's nose, like under, like
Oh my God.
crazy. He went into the pit, and I kind of hung out. And
There's
Eric
room
DaCosta
back
and I
there.
were saying hello, all
Yeah.
night long. Eric got a chance to say hello to me, but I was down in the pit, and it was silent. No one talked. It was the best behaved, most awesome experience. It was my favorite concert at CFG Bank. And you're not like a huge Pearl Jam, but you loved it, right?
No, I am a huge, and it was great. The thing is, though, I mean, are we got to talk about what happened, and also, I don't know that you know that, like, prior to quote the event during Alive, there were two instances going on near me. So I had sort of an awakening to I've had a lot of these lately where I realize I'm not the young people anymore, and it's very depressing. But earlier on in the concert, the usher and security were like near us, were like looking up and trying to figure out what's going on. And then a little bit late, and this is like, that concert started like of 9 o'clock. This is like 9:30 on a Thursday, right? Like, let's just be honest. And my husband taps me and says, "Oh, it's over there. Somebody threw up on that other guy's seat," right? So,
Oh,
and by the way, these are middle-aged people, let's remember. And I
this is
saw the
one great reason to use cannabis instead of drinking too much vodka.
wait,
I'll tell you
so
right
then
now.
like 20 or so minutes later, there's this guy who's by on the stairs by us, and he is just like waving his heater, and you can see all the people going, "Oh, oh, oh, oh," like you want to grab him before he falls. And so then the security like kind of put their arm around him and shuttle him out, and he's just like this, like, probably 50-something-year-old guy. And then, of course, the big moment happens where in the middle of Alive, Eddie says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," and the lights go up and the
That's
song
right.
stops,
That's
right?
right. The woman
And then
had it. There was a
and then the
woman who had
man, she's like,
a health incident.
"No,
Yes.
yeah." Then the man, and then he's like, he says, "No, it's a long time to stand. It is a long time to stand." And then the wife starts to apologize, says, "No, don't worry. Is everything okay? We'll wait,
I
we'll wait."
totally forgot that happened.
Oh
He
my God,
stopped
yeah.
the song. Like that's what you're going to remember about it. All I remember is just how great Black was, and like
But
just
then the crazy part is the couple walked towards where we were sitting, right? And I mean, they had to be at least 65 years old, right? And so then as soon as they get to like the threshold of being close enough to like the outer perimeter, the lights drop and they pick right up. And I leaned into the people with me and I was like, "It feels like this happens more than we think it does." And that's when I was like, we have clearly the audience, we have all moved to a different age. We think we're a certain age here. on this Thursday night, reliving our
One
past.
reason
And
to hydrate and not drink too much alcohol and
oh
like
my
all of the
God.
above. And you know, I love music and you know that. And like, and you've been at concerts. You were at Lake Street Dive. My wife went to Lake Street. I went to Styx. They're my friends. They came on the show. Nils Lofgren came on the show. It's like it's been an embarrassment of musical riches here of late.
Yes.
And I went to Marcus King with my buddy John Allen, having oysters as part of this oyster tour and doing all of that. And I'm sort of blown away by how diverse the music audiences can be. And I know that was part of your sponsorship with CFG Bank. It was sort of like Usher's one weekend and Pearl Jam's next weekend and Bruce's the next night. And it's music is way more ubiquitous than even sports. And it's been a tough sport. Listen, this is where I'm going to get Curio Wellness involved here because I was going to wear this shirt and I thought, hold on, it's the Orioles shirt. And I'm like, they've been tough times, and next week's a whole different thing with the Yankees. But I was going to wear this shirt, the purple, but I
Purple
thought
Friday.
one would be disrespectful to the other because they both need our help right now. The one thing I know is I walked out of Bruce in D.C. victorious. He played Bobby Jean. I walked out of Pearl Jam completely victorious because I had just a great night. Arms raised in a V, as they would say.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, I went to Styx. They played extra songs. They played Crystal Ball. It was awesome. I went to Marcus King, loved it. It was acoustic, different, bluesy, whatever. Walking out of Orioles games hadn't felt the same, unless you went to Tony Tater's Thursday. The sports mojo this month, and you're a huge sports fan, your family, how's your kid handling these Orioles? Has you got a young child who hasn't come to terms with the Freddie Patek moment, as I would say, where we're crying in the dugout, and we're not going to win the World Series, and we have to explain to him, we'll get him next year.
Yeah. So he's going to his last game or with this last round in town before we move to like a playoff window.
And playoff tickets are too expensive to take a kid, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we were talking about you know, oh well, the season ends and then the playoffs and the way that he's like, yeah, and then there's the World Series. I was like, right, but like we don't necessarily, we have to get there, right? We have to win these games and we have to win more games, and so we keep talking about that over and over again. And I will tell you that I am sure there is going to be some sort of lesson on sportsmanship, because even if we start watching a random sport on a Saturday afternoon that just happens to be on TV, whoever he decides he wants to win, he's crushed if they don't. And I'm like, you win some, you lose some. Like, we're not gonna like,
it's a teaching moment, and
have like a
especially when you have
meltdown
to
over this.
earn the World Series, right?
Yes.
You don't just get there. It's like the Ravens. We just thought, well, they're just going to be in the playoffs, and then we wake up and man, Wendy, the sports mood around here. I'd way rather be talking about Pearl Jam and Marcus King and how much fun you had. How was Lake Street Dive? We talk about crowds and fun, and I mean, maybe this is really where like I could talk about gummies, and I'm going to talk about ants and gummies in proper storage for everybody in a moment because I've had an incident. But I would just say your business and gummies and concerts and the experience of, am I going to drink? Am I going to have $22 drinks at the concert? Yeah, like literally, I saw a tequila drink, $26 the other night. The second one was 19 once you had the glass, but it was 26 for the first one. And I'm thinking to myself, this is where maybe your industry and the Grateful Dead experience of 40 years ago has come to a feeling of happy, euphoria, contentment, peacefulness, all of these things that your plant's known for. So maybe this is a good time to talk about how concerts are a little bit married to this in some ways, because I certainly see it and feel it. All my friends. I mean, if they don't have cards, they know where Foreign Daughter is at York and Timonium Road.
Yeah. I probably should say that, public consumption is not necessarily part of the state's program, but, people will do what people do. That was actually my thought when I saw these adults who kind of looked way too gone on at the Pearl Jam show. I was like, is this the night you decided to try a cannabis gummy? Because I don't know what's going on, but it is way too early
Don't start with
for
25. Come
you to
on, you
be
know?
like this wasted on a Thursday evening.
Well,
But
we've been at this our whole lives about alcohol, right? So this is, and this is where I get into it with gambling and, can you gamble? Everybody were gambling on it anyway, right? So to me, this is a really good teaching point to say everybody's seen somebody who drank too much at a football game, baseball game, concert, wherever it is. There is something about that was publicly, I don't want to say tolerated, but we've all been there at some point if you drink. And Marcus King, by the way, has a completely sober, he has a platform that shows up on my Facebook about sober fans and the importance of that too. So I'm with you, but I think we've all seen the alcohol thing have a really bad result for people. And I know you don't want that for people who are taking gummies or using cannabis, because this plant can be used in a way that works and is
yeah, you
really
have
helpful.
yeah.
I don't know
I
what's
mean, I
helpful about alcohol,
yeah,
at all.
that's I mean, I think, in its perfect consumption, it's either relieving what is hurting or bothering you physically, or mentally. And otherwise it is sort of this uplift, right? It's like this sort of general enhancement to the situation. It doesn't need to be like to the nth degree. Like you don't know, like anything, it's all about moderation. Because I think sometimes, you take that curve too far, you actually miss where like the value is.
Well, that would be the
So,
difference between going to a happy hour and having two drinks and having two drinks
right.
too many,
Yeah.
right? And it would be the same thing with cannabis, that there's a way to do this, and certainly from a sleeping perspective and from sort of an inflammation perspective, there's a lot of things that are incredibly healing about your plant.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things you can use that you would never even feel the psychoactivity. But you also hear more and more, these research showing that there's where cannabis is legal, the alcohol consumption is going down. I'm sure the alcohol industry does not like that. And if we ever become federally legal, they'd probably be one of the top candidates to start acquiring all of us. But I think that you see that a lot, and that it becomes this alternate choice. And of course, one of the primary upsides is, there's no residual the next day, right? The hangover, so to speak, does not really exist.
Wendy Bronfein is here. She tries to educate us. She's our chief cannabis officer here, and educating us from Far and Daughter and from Curio Wellness. We to everyone out there, know where to use this product if you use this product, and certainly know to not over consume in any way. But we try to educate folks, and this is a time of the year. So I got to say this: my friends at Miche Pest Control are taking care of my issues, but I've had like an ant invasion with the rainstorms and whatever. The ants tried to get after my gummies. There's a sweet part. I would tell people, you got to lock this stuff up. And for me, I don't have children here, animals, things that we see on the internet and stuff like that. But I did have an ant invasion. But I would say this: you mentioned things that do not get you high, right? You turned me on to a THCV product, a good day product here that is I reach for words. I'm a man of words, and I don't know the exact words, but I would say it was a very interesting product in the spring for you to bring to my attention. And I can just say, as a writer and as a person that really wants to concentrate, I don't want to be zoned out. I want to be focused in. You have some interesting things that folks would not associate with a cannabis product and say that can really be helpful for me.
Yeah. Well, that chew, the THCV chew, and then its counterpart, which I actually have here,
It's a
the
CBD product too. Yeah.
the Good Day tablet, right? So this is more of a sustained release. That's more of an immediate. Both of those kind of give you a daytime sort of an energy, a mood lift, a bit of focus. And I think, but never really feeling intoxicated in any way, which
Well,
is
I
really
have Royal
nice.
Farms coffee here, and it's full
Right.
test, and we all know that jitter, and this is sort of
Yeah.
the opposite of that. This is sort of the literally, I've used it like in a gun radio, sort of like want to get work, do process oriented things. And I'm like, oh yeah, I had that little lemon thing that Wendy told me about over at Curio. And I'm like, I definitely, it's definitely, I feel a difference. And it's a difference that you would feel with coffee if you drank too much of it right away. And that's not a pleasant feeling. This was much more of a directed feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to feel like with both of those, whether it's the gummy or the tablet, that it's like, whereas when something is stronger, you sort of feel it come on and you're like, oh, uh-oh, here it is, or whatever. Maybe not uh-oh, but there it is.
Like a wave,
Right.
you're saying?
This
Yeah.
is like, it's almost more like the day passes me by, and then I reflect back and go, oh yeah, I was like a little bit more energized and focused, and my mood was really good. And like, it kind of happens and you don't realize it's happening because the day is just happening and you're being productive and you feel good and you don't, and then you're like, oh right, I had that and it worked.
Well, I wanted, so the reason I kept these, and I'm literally, these are gummy. So I bought
Oh,
two
how
of the,
about that? I see it. Well, you just took away that last one you had
hold
there.
on,
That's a
well, I've
different.
had that since, but they're gone. So, well, if the ants didn't get to them first, but so these were, and I hold these around for a couple of reasons. A, to hold them up, right? But I bought two of these, which tells you that I liked it, right? So I went back for this. But the other part is that I used the QR codes on the back for the points because I'm trying to get in line as a Curio spokesperson and trying to educate folks about what we're doing. You have a points program, so I've kept the bags to show off. And then the ants, literally, this was part of the ant issue for me. But in these bags, for me to keep them, people should throw them away first thing.
Right.
But you should use. I kept them and I tried to show Jen. I'm like, hey, they have a points thing and QR code, and I'm an old fart. You know this. You've seen the concerts I'm at. Like the QR part of being in any membership club or any points program, sort of ingenious. And you guys jumped onto this. Not everybody's doing it this way. It's pretty cool, don't you think? Being sort of old like us, when we used to have to mail off and to
Yeah.
join fan clubs and get points for stuff. This is a very, very
Instant
easy way to do it.
gratification.
It's just
Yeah.
a very
Yeah.
easy way to zap it, really.
Yeah. I mean, you've got the product, and it's so lo-fi, right? You scan it, it populates it, and as you accrue, I mean, and for for people who are in Maryland and buy our products, you have the ability to redeem it either for different merch items like Bluetooth speakers and swag and stuff like that, or you can trade it in
Swag like
for
this or no? Can we do this swag?
I don't know. I don't think our
You're gonna run out of
sports
these,
stuff
yeah.
is on there, but more like generic, like, but smell proof storage cases are on there, and JBL speakers are on there, and sweatshirts and stuff are on there. But you also can do $25 gift cards to our store in Elkton or our store in Timonium. And then for our friends in Missouri, because we're out there too, they have access to all of the merch.
Well, I just figured it was easy. I'm throwing these away now, and
Yeah,
you
you
were
don't have to
giving me.
keep them forever. Yeah, you don't have to keep them after you do it. But wait, let's talk about that one you got in
Yeah,
the
I'm
back
holding
there.
this up. I knew you were going, and so this was. You and I tittered and giggled back in February because it was Valentine's Day, and you're like, "We've got a strain that people are coming in. It's this strawberry thing, and it was a flower strain originally. People were smoking it, and this has turned into like an oil. But we only talk about romance February. Nobody has romance in September. Wendy, the kids are back to school. We're all working. We're trying to get baseball's keeping us up. There's no romance this time of year, right? You need the bedroom berry, is what you need.
Yeah, I mean, I think bedroom berry anytime, really. But yes, you're absolutely right. The profile of that strain, the strain itself, years ago, we had people telling us it had Viagra-like effects, very literally for men, and for women, more of a heightened sensitivity and an increased relaxation.
I'm
And
glad you said heightened sensitivity and increase because I'm going back to ninth grade sex ed class and I'm trying to figure out how to do this for all adults here. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But we don't. The blue pill came 20 years ago,
yeah.
and I always say your family was in the pharmaceutical business and neighbor care and all that. I am amazed that how many awful flavored things I had as a kid, awful stuff my parents made me take, or tablets and stuff like that. This gummy thing for getting medications. Where were the Flintstones chewables like that when I was a kid? Because these taste good, but they also have this effectiveness that sort of, we titter about it.
Fireworks.
It works. Like, I'm just saying, this is a product that is legitimate. And I'll say this, I'm no stranger to the blue pill and like headaches and like that. Like, there's a point. I mean, you're a woman. I don't know. You probably haven't taken the blue pill, but
No.
it can set off, especially if you had a glass of vodka or something. It could set off a headache that would put you completely not. It would change the mood
Oh,
instantly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there are definite side effects to that. I mean, come on. I mean, there really are. It works. There's no doubt about it, but it can be very counter effective. And I say that as somebody who's a 56-year-old guy who knows about that sort of thing, but this is not that kind of product at all. I found this to be like really, and it tastes good too. I keep going back to like,
yeah.
you guys make stuff that tastes good.
Yeah. Well, so depending on how you like to consume, right? You can achieve that through pre-rolls, you can achieve it through vape, you can achieve it through that gummy. Yeah, we do a lot of uh like development work with any gummy to make it very palatable and sort of less quote earthy, like to try and not have a lot of that earthiness that people expect to be in there and give it a really clean profile with like the oil. And then there is an intimacy oil, so more of a lubricant type product that's in that line as well, that's quite exceptional.
Well, I would just say for this, I think of it as a February product and it's September. And the only reason I even brought it up, but this is a year round product. It's just not eggnog at Christmas or pumpkin spice in the fall, right? Literally.
Yeah, no, of course. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I think that, you know, if you only are taking advantage of that as one of life's offerings in the month of February, like let's get you a bag of this and get your life in order.
See, I didn't know we were going to talk about that today. And you know what brought it all on? It was the ant invasion. So I've used my points. They're all empty. I should at least rinse them out and keep them on the set because we do talk about the gummies as well as lots of other things and medicinal things. Foreign
Well,
daughter is
there's
right around the corner.
child resistant. You could seal them up tight and then the ants won't get in.
I don't have any kids,
I
but I
don't think
got
that
ants. I
I
got
don't think
ants in
the
my
ants can
pants.
work the child resistant thing.
My friends at Miche Pest Control, thank you for coming to my rescue here this week. And I need all the rescue I could get. I need some relaxation around here after yoga. As you know, I'm not much of an indica guy. I sleep pretty well, but if they name a strain after me, if there's a nasty Nestor, it's going to be very upbeat. Because that's who I am. Wendy, I love having you on. Appreciate the concert friendship and all that. Anything down the line, like on, you really do. I made a pumpkin spice reference, but 'tis the season. I mean, you do a great job with flavors. I'll just say that the gummies taste delicious, even to the ants, apparently the residue. But you make delicious products, and there are some seasonal fun things above and beyond bedroom berry bliss that is available 12 months a year.
Yeah, so we do a vape line called Fuse. They're all-in-one disposables, and they're all a flavored profile, and there is a pumpkin spice in that line. It is that time of year, you're right. There's a bunch of new exclusive strains that we've been releasing, the Super Silver Haze, a Lime Dog, Purple Runs, Purple Pure Loco. So a lot of different ones coming out that haven't appeared before. We've got a Durban Poison. So
Can
there's
I
a
ask
lot of
about that
yeah.
while I have you? Because you start to read off these names, people that are familiar with strains and say, "Oh, I've heard of that." And so haze, I know what a haze and a diesel, things that are attachments that let people know where the profile might be. Right? There's something like a Durban Poison that like I saw that on Denver menus a dozen years ago, and then there's things that are exclusive to you, like a Blissful Wizard. That's your thing. Where in that providing names, Northern Light names that people are very familiar with, right? Versus something that's, hey, we're gonna have our own Nasty Nestor, our own Happy Eddie line with names that are fun and unto us, as opposed to Coke and Pepsi, for lack of a better expression, where you know exactly what that is.
Well, so some of them, like a Durban Poison, that there's a name that is very well known and in long existence, right? So something like that, I don't think anyone would mess with, so to speak. But when there are strains that you have, if we crossbreed anything and create something new, obviously we're naming it. Or if it, if when we originally get that material, the name is really not particularly known, and we don't think it's strong enough to warrant people's interest, then we'll improve the name of it for sure. But most of the time, they're known. A lot of strains, and people, when you're growing, you're looking for strains that have familiarity and popularity. So unless it's something that we've created originally,
Good. Yeah, well,
we'd hold on to it.
look, the names are all wacky and funny, and I often say, and to anybody out there, even if you are a veteran, you got a card, you've been in, to get educated on it, to continue the education on it, because it's not an inexpensive product, and you want it to be effective, and you want people to come in and try something like I did with this product that doesn't get you high, that keeps you focused, that tastes delicious, that's easy on the body and the mind, and you come back and get another one. That's the goal of it, is to find what works for you, and part of that's really getting educated and not being so overwhelmed by the menu. And I think that for anybody
Absolutely.
that comes in, they're like, "What? My God, I don't even know where to start in this." It's too much, and so we try to make it a little easier around here. And I would always say, the people in your place are just great. I mean, you could pull
Thank you.
anybody up and ask questions, and everybody's super friendly. You got a great staff at Foreign Daughter and Timonium, and if I
Thank you.
have questions, I ask. And
And you should,
yeah,
there's like
yeah.
you're right. The menus are huge. And it's like if you don't you can be a deer in headlights with all those choices. And you really have to be very, I think, transparent with whoever is helping you choose, no matter the store, about what you're trying to achieve, because a lot of times what's recommended can be what that person working there knows and likes, and it's not like as broad, their purview isn't necessarily as broad as the full menu. So it's really important to really communicate what your goal is, what you're trying to relieve, the effects you want to have, whatever it is, so that they can really place the appropriate product with you to optimize your experience.
Yeah, that question, how do you want to feel, right?
Right.
How do you want to feel? Where's your pain? Where's your release point? So, hey, I just made a Pearl Jam reference there. Wendy Bronfein is here. I'm wearing my Blunt Person shirt. I just couldn't decide whether I was going to go purple or orange, and I didn't want to be because it's been a rough week around here. I mean, until this Dallas thing gets settled, until the Yankees thing gets settled, until we get an opponent next week, until we figure out a starting rotation, and there's a lot to do sports wise. I was very pleased to take a little respite from sports for 15 minutes, talk some rock and roll, talk some education about cannabis with my friend Wendy Bronfein. She's our chief cannabis officer around here, teaching us. She's the chief brand officer and has a lot of answers. And there's a lot of education as well at a Curio Wellness. We always encourage people to use the product responsibly. We talk about it in a responsible way and an educational way. And I really appreciate you coming on. And I hope we get back together. Things are better with the orange and the purple, at least for one of them.
I
Hey, if
agree.
one of them's going well, I'll put it on. But right now, I'm just trying to hold on to the rails and make sure we're not 0-5 and out of the playoffs next Wednesday. So Wendy Bronfein is here. I am Nestor. We are WNST AM 1570 Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore positive. And don't worry, I'll put my hair back up.